Hey, thanks for dropping by to the Planners on Purpose podcast, created by Naomi Tucker, CMP. Now, this space is for the event planners to encourage and empower you so that you can fully live your life on purpose. So before we dig in, please take a moment to subscribe so you get future shows. Now, here she comes, your host, Naomi.
Hi everyone, so good to be with you today. The sun is shining here in Wisconsin after a big surprise snowstorm. You know, one of those snowstorms where the weatherman says you'll have 4 to 6 inches and you end up with 12. Yeah, one of those. But we survived and I'm ready. I'm ready to deliver another fun episode for you. Today, you'll get the chance to hear this interview that I had a time ago with Nora Sheils, which is so relevant right now. Nora was such a delight to meet, and I know she is going to be a delight when you hear her. She has a very impressive, long-standing career in the wedding and events industry. Now, Nora is going to share her journey with you, but I want to share some of the amazing contributions that Nora has done in her career. Now, Nora has had 20 years of running an award-winning planning firm called Bridal Bliss, and she possesses an intimate grasp of the ins and outs of the wedding industry. In her time working with countless couples and leading a team of 30-plus women, she recognized the need for a more effective, streamlined approach to the often daunting and daunting contract and invoice process. Thus, in 2018, Rock, Paper, Coin was born in partnership with her sister-in-law, Elizabeth, and the two have been committed to bringing together event professionals and couples ever since. Nora's industry experience doesn't stop there. It has led her to become a thought leader in the way of project management, operational efficiency, business expansion, and team dynamics, as well as a sought-after speaker on national stages, including Pottery Retreat, Wedding MBA, Cater Source, the NACE Experience. Her knowledge has earned her a top spot in the event industry podcast, and her contributions have been featured in the New York Times, Town and Country, Brides, The Knot, Bridal Guide, and Special Event Magazine. Recognized as one of the top 500 event professionals by BizBash, Nora has also been heralded as one of the most 100 influential people in the event industry by Eventex. Nora is a big deal, and I'm excited for you to hear this episode. So before I give it all away, let's jump right in, and I will see you on the other side. Today, I'm hanging out with Nora Sheils of Rock, Paper, Coin. We're going to talk a bit about creating an impressive team because where we are right now in the industry, we're rebuilding and we have to do that with purpose and intention. So I'm really excited to have Nora with me for this discussion today. Nora, welcome to Planners on Purpose podcast.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to chat with you. I am a big fan of everything you all believe and stand for and are working towards. So thanks for all you do.
No, thank you for being here. You've had such an impressive journey in the event industry space. You've been here for well over 20 years and have done some really impressive things. And I would like my listeners to know a bit about you. So before we jump into the good stuff, let's just set a bit of foundation and tell us a bit about your journey.
Sure. Well, thank you. My journey in the wedding industry started from a very young age. My mom was an Iraqi immigrant, or is an Iraqi immigrant, and growing up, she would do alterations out of our house. So it was like a constant string of brides, for the most part, that would come in and she would alter their dress. And I would just kind of sit there and watch and just be enthralled by the whole thing. But she always had pattern books and bridal magazines, just kind of for inspiration. She would custom make things sometimes. And so I was always around it and I'd always be interested in it and loved it. So throughout schooling and college, I worked in different aspects of the wedding industry, from bridal shops to catering to flowers. And in college, my senior year, I was trying to figure out what the heck I wanted to do with my life. And wedding planners weren't really a thing back then. There was like the Mindy Weiss, the Colin Cowie, the celebrity planners, but there weren't a lot of wedding planners. And there certainly wasn't anyone that would return a call or talk to me about it. So my senior year, I saw a posting for a business plan competition. I went to Gonzaga University in Eastern Washington. If you're a basketball fan, you've heard of them. Otherwise, maybe not. But so I entered the business plan with this wedding planning idea and I won. And the winnings were all of your startup costs up front.
Oh, beautiful.
So I literally had nothing to lose. I didn't know what I was doing, without a doubt. I had planned maybe some smaller weddings for friends and family at that point, but nothing at a bigger scale. So I really just learned by mistakes and kind of tweak things along the way. And now we have a team of about 25 planners between 3 different geographic areas. So we're based in Portland, Oregon. We have teams in Portland, Seattle, and the Bend, Central Oregon area. And we plan upwards of 150 weddings per year. So it's been quite a wild ride on the planning side. I love planning still. I still dabble. I do maybe 1 or 2 a year just to.
I was going to ask if you still do it.
Well, I would do more, but a couple of years ago, one of my planners, Elizabeth, who also is my sister-in-law, we are married to brothers. We were commiserating over cocktails and just kind of complaining about how we felt like we were babysitting our clients, doing the same thing over and over, and just like constantly reminding. And it was starting to not get fun. And so we set out to find software that could fix some of these problems we were having. A lot of it was like reminding them to sign a contract with their vendors or make their final payments, things like that. And we searched and tried every single software solution on the market, and they didn't fit. Either they didn't understand the wedding industry, like they left the wedding planner out, or they weren't pretty. I mean, if you're in the industry, it has to be pretty, or it wasn't user-friendly, or it was too expensive, or our team didn't like it. There was just something. So we set out to hire a development team that could create something for us in-house to use. And we're very naive and had no idea what that meant time-wise, money-wise. And once we learned, we kind of just put it on the back burner. But we continue to talk about it with our industry friends. And people would say, well, if you figure that out, let us know, because we definitely need something like that. So the more people we talked to, the more we found there truly was a need for something like this. And so we created Rock, Paper, Coin at the end of 2019. And what it is, it's software that's aimed towards the wedding and event industry. It allows for virtual contracts, virtual invoices, shared documents. We have a lot of resources for our members. And pretty soon we're going to be launching a inquiry management system on there as well. So
that's awesome.
In a nutshell, that is my story.
It's amazing what comes about with cocktails, right?
Right? Oh, I can say that about many phases of my life.
Well, I think that's wonderful. And to start that business in 2019, and I'm pretty sure the last few years have been a journey, no doubt, too, with getting through the pandemic. Yes. Did you find it a little tough or?
Absolutely. I mean, everybody found it tough, right? So Bridal Bliss is the wedding planning company. They had so many weddings that were postponed and canceled and changed again and changed again. So it was really a challenge just keeping all that organized and keeping our team positive and happy. Clients were rough last year. I don't know if it was just in the Pacific Northwest, but people were super demanding and not very nice and not very appreciative, like kind of the opposite of what you would expect when your planner has put so much time and effort working with you. But we needed morale boosters, and our whole team stuck in. We were able to keep everyone on payroll throughout the entire pandemic, which was awesome.
That is great.
And now they're booming, like never been busier. Like so many other planners and vendors, it's like the boom of 2022 is real.
And I feel like you've never stopped, because during that time, I feel like those small weddings, there were still weddings were the type of event that still continued through the pandemic.
For sure.
So,
And like people were planning, thinking that it would be done in like 6 months, and then 6 months would roll around and then you'd replan. And it was just this constant flow of work.
yes.
But at Rock Paper Coin, so we launched at the end of 2019, literally months before the pandemic shut everything down. And we were super nervous. But what ended up happening is it kind of was a blessing in disguise for us, because so many wedding pros had downtime during the pandemic that they could actually like stop what they were doing, take a high level look at their business and streamline their processes.
Yes.
And that meant bringing in technology. They had the time, they had the energy to do it. And so we saw our signups go through the roof. People were really excited about it. Our member success team was crazy busy. And it really was a great starting foundation of our members. And, you know, many people signed up not really having any business, but they got their account set up. They really learned the software. And so when the business came back, they were ready and their lives were so much easier. So we also pulled all of our subscription fees once COVID hit, because, you know, our industry was hit so hard, and it was like one small thing we could do to help all of the wedding pros out there that were really suffering and stressed and burnt out and all those things. So, you know, we were able to save people a little bit of money, not only on subscription fees, but also we have the lowest processing fees on the market. So vendors that were switching over were instantly saving money and continue to.
Amazing. That's awesome. I mean, I find it super impressive that you're able to keep all your team. And because so many people didn't fare that way. So that's super just amazing for your business.
They're amazing. It's such a like special group of people.
So what keeps them special? What I mean, obviously you have an award-winning business. Share with us what makes it successful.
Over the years, we have grown very slowly. You see a lot of these companies that get really big, really fast, and then fizzle out. Well, I didn't want to do that. I never take more weddings than we are able to handle comfortably. You know, it was just me for several years before I brought on help. And at that point, Bridal Bliss was my baby. Like I had built it from the ground up. I'd made so many mistakes and learned from so many things. And so bringing on team members was really stressful for me, because one bad event not only is a big deal for that couple, but it's horrible for your reputation as a company as a whole. So I was really nervous and took a lot of time training my new employees. They started off as assistants with the company and grew from within. So that was really important. And that's kind of how we have continued hiring to this day. So we start by having assistants on site with us through the summer. They help in the back end, they shadow meetings, they're on site. And the longer they're with us, the more responsibilities we give them day of, so they can really kind of get their hands dirty. But I'm a huge, huge advocate of learning by example. I think there's only so much you can learn from a webinar or reading things. I think that's great and a great supplement, but actually being at a wedding and seeing like some sort of fiasco happen that you have to deal with instantly, like there's no better way to teach somebody to be a planner.
Yes, I think even now we have interviews where people just come on site or, you know, be a part of that experience just to see how they react, so they can at least see what we have to work through. It's just so important. I wanted to go back to the fact that you said that you had to scale smartly and you couldn't take on everything. And I believe that some entrepreneurs struggle with that, because when you are getting the business, you just want to say yes to everything.
Right.
How do you manage saying no to clients that really, really want to work with you? How do you manage that?
It's so hard to say no, not only because you work so hard to get the business, but also like you just want to help people, especially when they're in so much need. But like when I first started adding team members, I would still, this is crazy and I don't recommend it, but I would still plan all of the weddings and then bring a planner on site to execute it. So I was doing like 30, 35 weddings a year. I did not have a social life. I did not sleep. It was horrible. And I don't recommend doing it that way. And a lot gets lost in the shuffle too, when you're handing things off and somebody else is running the day. You know, there was constant calls and questions and, you know, it was silly. So now what we do is we take a lot of time to train our planners. Like they are 100% comfortable in our processes, in what different meetings entail, and being able to like really take care of our clients and manage a wedding day and everything that can go wrong with it. So we have like a sales team that meets with potential clients and kind of weeds out who is a good fit, who is not, and really understands what kind of wedding they want, what their personalities are like. And we try to match them with the planner, mostly based on personality, if we can. At a certain point, if it's late enough, it's based on availability. But then that planner works with their client the entire process. So our office still manages the invoicing, the billing, little things, but the planner is their point of contact all throughout planning. So it turns into their baby. And then we have back-end support. So that's how we've split it up. And then each planner dictates what her availability is. We're 100% women right now, not by design by any means, but when you hear me say her, that's why. And so she will tell us what her availability is and update it. And then she has to decide how much is too much, how much feels good. So we don't micromanage that at all. And the point of training, doing a lot of time training at the beginning, means we can be pretty hands off and there's nobody looking over their shoulder, nobody checking in, all the time. They send monthly updates, but then they manage their schedule. They take care of their clients. We don't have set required hours or anything like that. As long as our planners are taking excellent care of their clients, responding within 24 hours, taking care of the vendor team, then I don't care when you work whenever you want.
And it sounds like it's like you train them to have that entrepreneurial spirit, right?
Yes.
To just take it and go with it. They know the principles and, how you actually lead your programs, and they've been kind of raised up in that so they can take it and run with it.
And each planner has, like an assistant team on site too. So it's not just them that's running the day. They'll dictate how much help they need day of. But it's a process that we've created over time that really has worked well for us. And even though it's just one planner working with a couple, we have like such a great like team camaraderie. Everyone helps each other. It's definitely like a team thoughtfulness where we all help each other with ideas and suggestions and troubleshooting and things like that. So we always tell our clients, this is your contact, but there's a whole team behind you. And people really love that. And they also love that if something were to happen to one of our planners, we have all the documentation, we have the timeline, all the vendor information. We could transfer that wedding to another planner and everything would be totally fine.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And it really makes me think what you're describing about your team. It makes me think of a book that I'm reading right now. It's by Dan Sullivan. It's called Who Not How. I'm not sure if you've heard about that.
Great book.
It's such a great book. And he just talks about, the who you're working with is more important than how you're going to do whatever it is you want to do. And so it sounds like you've really built a fantastic team for yourself, but I would love to just dig into what's the quality of the who, right? Building that successful team, and what characteristics should someone look out for when they want to hire on a great team member that's able to action whatever it is they need?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a different answer for every company and location and type of wedding planning firm. But for us, when we are interviewing, the first thing we look at is personality. And how they present themselves. Are they confident? Are they quick on their feet? Are they super nervous? Which that's not necessarily a bad thing. Everybody gets nervous, but maybe if they're nervous every single interview, that might be something to consider. Do they look like they, made an effort getting dressed, or did they roll out of bed and come in? You'd be surprised how often that happens, especially with assistants. So there's just this like overall vibe that you get from someone, how trainable they are, how open they are to learning. That sometimes like we've interviewed planners that have come to us from other firms, and they're very set in their ways and they do things a certain way. So If you're not open, then you're probably not a good fit for the Bridal Bliss team. Otherwise, people that are open to all genders, all races, that's very important to us. It's one of our core values. We will work with any person, any gender, any sexual identity. So that is like a make it or break it for us. So that's kind of where we start. And we have an interview process where they meet with us a couple different times with different groups. We want to make sure they fit within our team culture. It's like I said, a great group of people. We are very diverse in many different ways. So usually the culture, it isn't a problem because we're so open to so many different types of peoples and backgrounds and styles and all of that. But we do want to make sure that everybody just kind of vibes well from the beginning. So, that's awesome. There's a lot of things, and I can tell pretty quickly if I'm interested in hiring someone when they first come in. Just the way that they present themselves and speak. And I haven't always been right. And I always give people a chance, but I've been pretty good. So, so far, so good.
That's awesome. So I feel like also we need to pay attention to the client side too, right? When it comes to who you're working with, because some clients aren't really made equally. Many other clients have different personalities, maybe are a little bit more harder to work with. Let's talk about that client side and how a business can really decipher if the client is someone that they should be working with. I know it's tough because we want to work with everybody.
It is so tough, especially when you're newer and you don't have a ton of business. You'll just take anything. And I'm guilty of doing that early on as well. It's so hard to turn down business, especially if you have availability on that date. But we all get red flags. You all get that feeling where you're not sure about it. Like you have to follow your gut. Every single time I haven't, it's bit me in the butt, like thinking, the mom's not so bad. It'll be fine. They're just stressed. Well, especially at the beginning, if your client turns at the beginning, you have to pull the plug, and we refund 100% of their payments, typically, if we're the ones canceling, which is also tough to swallow. So like I had a wedding, I still have nightmares about it, but it was a couple years ago and it went bad like a couple months before the wedding. They're horrible human beings, but that's a whole other conversation. But I was so close to being done. It was like 2 months and I was like, I'll just tough it out. And I don't want to give up all that money. It was a big package. So I did it and I regretted every second of it. And I wish I would have refunded. So even if it's a short amount of time, like life is too short, you have to trust your gut. Ask the right questions during the consult or on your inquiry form. And there's nothing wrong with saying, I don't think we're a good fit. A lot of people are nervous about confrontation or saying things like that, but you don't have to be super negative about it. Just say, I loved meeting with you. After thinking about it, I don't think you're a good fit. Here are a couple planners you might want to contact, and then give them a heads up beforehand.
Sometimes you have to do that. You just have to do that. So in talking through that, another thing opens up for me with the client is understanding or getting that delicate balance with your planners on if they should be order takers versus consultants, or I love your word for this, brand enthusiast. I would love for us to talk a little bit about that because it can be really hard. People, especially with wedding planning, as you're doing, people know how they want their wedding. They know their colors. They know what they want. And being open to their planner's insights is something that it's a delicate balance. I'd love for you to speak to that too.
That is something we talk about in consults too. Like, how set are you in your ideas? Are you open to suggestions, or do you want someone to just execute your plan? Order taker, it like makes me cringe, but a lot of times planners are the order takers. And I think part of that has to do with not setting expectations early. I think it's really important at the very beginning of planning your first intro meeting to talk about, first of all, communication, what's acceptable, what's not, when you're available, when they can expect to hear from you. Like texting at 10 o'clock is absolutely unacceptable unless something is like actually on fire. But so many planners do that and they respond to their clients because they feel bad. I feel bad. We have planners on our team that go above and beyond every time and they get burnt out. And you're like, that's not part of your job. You don't have to fix all of their problems. So, I think you just have to be really clear up front and also set like planning expectations. So this is where we're going to start. These are your due dates. You can expect check-ins from me every month, even though we'll talk quite a bit. You'll get a formal check-in with an updated to-do list. Here's a link to your portal that you can access anytime with all of your documents. So set your clients up for success and yourself up for success early, and you will be sure to have happy clients. We try to send like surprise and delight gifts to our clients as well. So upon booking, they get a really nice welcome package and kind of notes throughout. And I will tell you, those things are inexpensive and they make a huge, huge difference. So as long as planners are responsive and they're the ones starting the conversations rather than the client, I think if a client is emailing you saying, "What should I be doing now?" Like you failed at your job. You're doing something wrong. You have to be ahead of it, and they will have more faith in you that you're on top of it and their wedding is in good hands. They will not micromanage if you do that. Obviously, there are some outliers, but if you're the one leading rather than reacting to all of their emails, you're setting yourself up for success, and your client will likely be very happy, write a great review, and send you referrals when all is said and done.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks so much for that. It's like, be proactive, really send gifts to help them, and then just be open with your communication. And I think not enabling, the behavior of, them emailing at all hours of the day is also helpful too. So setting some boundaries around that too is very helpful.
And it's important to me on the Bridal Bliss side, or really any side, that people have work time and they have personal time. Like your job should not take over your life. And that's something I talk about with the Bridal Bliss team quite a bit, because they want to get back to their clients so quickly. And I appreciate that. And I think it's great, but that is like the road to burnout. And then your clients are expecting a response within 2 minutes every time, and they're going to be upset if they don't get that. So, I'm guilty of working late. Sometimes we all do it, but I will schedule my emails to go out the next morning.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
Yeah. So then, my clients aren't getting an email at 10 o'clock at night and thinking, "Oh, she's up and working, I'll just send her a text." Like, no, do not send me a text. So that's a great way to do it too. And if you're on Gmail, it's already on there available to you. So, otherwise there's a lot of apps that you can schedule with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think even Outlook had a new update where it just gives you the opportunity to schedule it. It identifies if it's outside of your hours. Do you want to schedule this?
Oh,
perfect.
Cool.
Yeah. So you don't have to go searching for it anymore, which is great. So I would love for you to share with us just some strategies on how we can boost our team's reputations. I feel like there's a great need right now with all of our planning teams globally. We're trying to get the industry reared and roaring back again to how it was before. And it certainly is hard because we're working with limited resources. And if we're trying to build onto our team, even that, it's really hard at the moment. So how can we boost our team's reputations in this time? Make us all look good. Nora, give us some tips.
I think social media is an easy, free way to do that. Sure, it's a time commitment, but just being present on social media, responding to people's posts, showing faces of you and your team and stories and reels and things like that. And just sharing and tagging. Tagging is really important. That is a great start. Also for planners specifically, we get so much business from vendor referrals. So reaching out to your vendors, checking in, saying hello, whether you have business or not. Like during the pandemic, we sent cards to all of our vendors, just like little postcards saying, "We missed you," things like that. So you're top of mind. But vendors refer people that they enjoy working with. Like if they're going to be on site, they want to be on site with somebody that they like and enjoy. So you have to keep that up with them, not only on the wedding day, but kind of throughout the year. So depending on where you are, you probably have some networking events you could go to. There's a lot of Zoom networking events still, which are kind of painful, but it is fun to see faces. But just like staying relevant with vendors and also with your clients, make sure you always ask for a review. We, after the wedding, send them links to like 4 or 5 different sites and ask them to post a review on one of them or as many as they would like. And so that helps, especially as people are searching for a planner online, they usually will read or come across your reviews, which is amazing for your reputation.
And you can always repurpose those, like you said, on social media too.
Or your site as well. Keep your site updated. I know it's a pain, but definitely keep your photos updated. And because not only do clients visit it, but vendors do as well. So you do want to keep changing things and keeping them updated and relevant to your brand at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. I never would think that social media would be so important, but it absolutely is.
It didn't really exist when I started, but man, has it changed.
It has. It has. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you would like to share with our listeners on how you can create an impressive team?
I think just be authentic and don't take on too much, and really give your planners the space to grow and learn and be a team player. Make sure that they feel valued, they feel heard, and that they feel like they can always come to you if there's something they need help with or advice or just somebody to vent to. I think that's super important. But the world turns with kindness. So be kind to yourself, your team, and your vendors.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah. I really appreciate this. There's so many good nuggets in this podcast interview, so I appreciate it.
Of course. And if any of your viewers or listeners want to try out Rock, Paper, Coin, like I said, we do contracts, invoices, shared documents. We're going to be adding inquiry management soon. We have a low processing fee of 2.5%. But for your crew, we're happy to do free white glove onboarding. So we will get their accounts completely dialed in and set up for them for free. Perfect. And then with the code RPC, like Rock, Paper, Coin, Nora, Nora, it's RPC Nora, they'll get a free year on the application.
Great. Thank you so much. I'll make sure to add that into the description and the show notes. Perfect. So that everyone is able to get that. I just really appreciate that. Before you leave, though, I definitely want to ask you a few fun questions.
Sure.
And they're kind of surprise. Everyone, Nora doesn't know I'm going to ask her these questions. So if you're ready, I just would love to just learn a little bit more.
Sure. Hit me.
Perfect. So first thing is, what is your favorite type or brand of sparkling wine?
Oh my gosh. That's really hard. You're asking me to choose my favorite child. I would say, if we're feeling fancy, I really like Moet is my favorite, but I'm also a big fan of Prosecco. So it's super inexpensive, but I love it for just like a regular night.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, thank you. And then the second question I have, what is the most memorable thing that you've done with your family?
With my family. So my youngest son just turned 5 a couple months ago, and we surprised our boys. We picked him up from school and surprised him in the car that we were going to Disneyland. Oh. So they freaked out. I have it on video. It's like the cutest thing ever. They freaked out. We went to the airport and just had the most magical time. I don't know what it is about that place, but it is done so well. And our kids were perfect. There were no meltdowns. We had such a great time, and it will always be a memorable event for me.
Oh, that's amazing. Every kid wants that.
I know, right? I'll send you the link to the video. It's really cute.
Oh gosh, I would love to watch it. I'm sure they were just excited. The next one is, what is your latest binge watch? We all like to binge watch things, so I would love to hear what you're binge watching.
So right now I'm watching Succession. And I don't actually even like it, but I feel like I have to see how it ends. which is so messed up. But like my all-time favorite show was Parenthood. I loved Parenthood.
I love that. The way back Parenthood.
Way back.
Me
well,
too.
The one for Zeke was the dad. I love that show so much.
Yes.
And I've been watching This Is Us. So I'm waiting for that to end so I can binge it all together.
Really cool. Yeah, that was my favorite too. So good. I might have to take a look at that one too. And then the last one, I just want to hear about your top 40 under 40 nomination. How did it feel to be nominated for that? I know it was in 2020, but it feels like we're still in that area.
That was such a huge honor. I have looked at the list year after year, and the year that I won, my submission went in. A past client, a mother of the bride that I'd worked with, submitted it, and she submitted it like months before my 40th birthday, and they announced it in like 2 months later. So I was like, oh, I just eked in, but it was really cool. That was probably a highlight of my career. Just, I don't know, because the wedding industry doesn't get a lot of play. People look at it like this fluff industry, which it's not. It's a $74 billion industry. There's so many talented people. So to be recognized by like a business publication was, it was very special. I loved it.
Well, congratulations. That's definitely an honor. So I love to hear your reaction to that. So what's next for you and, Bridal Bliss and Rock, Paper, Coin? What is next for you in your businesses?
Yeah. So Bridal Bliss, I still own it. I'm involved at a very high level. I plan maybe 1 or 2 weddings a year for people that I love and I'm excited about. But otherwise, we have like such an amazing team that really runs it. It's a well-oiled machine. So that is great and will continue to be. And Rock, Paper, Coin, we are just, we're busting at the seams. We have so many new members. We have gotten so much traction. So that's where most of my time is spent, just meeting with planners and talking to them about our product and getting people geared up. I do a lot of the marketing and PR for the company, and it's really exciting to watch it grow and to be able to work with my sister-in-law, having come from Bridal Bliss, where I did everything myself, and then going to Rock, Paper, Coin, where I did it with a co-founder, is such a different, amazing experience. So I'm excited to see where it goes and how big it gets, and just honestly helping our industry. I think technology has been on the back burner for the wedding industry, and it was kind of forced on by COVID a little bit. And we're still a bit antiquated, but we are getting there, and just hoping that Rock, Paper, Coin can really save people time and money.
That's amazing. And I love to hear that. Saving time, saving money.
Right? What else do you want?
So I appreciate it. I just appreciate you, appreciate us learning about Rock, Paper, Coin and the offer that you did present to our listeners. So everyone who's interested, definitely take some notes and definitely try that out. And if they want to reach out to you, how would they find you?
Please, I would love to hear from anyone with questions or feedback or anything. I am Nora at rockpapercoin.com, and it's Nora without the H. Or our Instagram is just at rockpapercoin.
Lovely. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast today and sharing with us all your expertise and how you've built your team. It was just really inspiring, and I just really appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much.
So much. It was great chatting with you, Naomi.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Nora was amazing. So many gems, right? I took away so much from this episode. It was a really good one. A couple of things that come to mind: characteristics of amazing team. So great to hear, that you want to make sure that your team is open to learning, that they fit in the team culture, they accept everyone for who they are. I also love that she mentioned going over and beyond can lead to burnout. You all know I'm so much of an advocate for banishing burnout. So it was so great to hear her bring that to light. And it was just a refresher to understand and just to hear the importance of setting expectations and how that is for your clients. It's so important, and it can help put you in the consultant seat as a planner. So very important tip. There was, of course, so much more, but I want to know, what are your biggest takeaways? Go ahead and leave a comment wherever you're finding this, and I would love to hear all about it. Thank you so much for joining for this episode of the Planners on Purpose podcast. And until next time, stay on purpose.
Well, that wraps it up for this episode. If you enjoyed the conversation, hit the like button and tell us how much you enjoyed the show by leaving a message in the comments. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.